It probably goes without saying, but John Mayer is about as close to a modern guitar hero as you can get. He's also considered a bit of a savant when it comes to tone, and one of his not-so-secret weapons is this, the Way Huge Aqua Puss. This is also, in my opinion, one of the best analog delays and pedals in general that you can buy today, so I figured that with this video we'd take a bit of a double-sided approach. We'll look briefly at the pedal itself and a little of its history. We'll look at the way that John uses it and how you can dial in a similar if not the same setting, and we'll also look at a couple of other ways that you can use it in your rig as well. And as always, the different sections will all be in the timestamps below, so let's just jump in. The Aqua Puss was first released in the late 90s, it being the first pedal that Way Huge founder George Tripps ever built, and essentially the foundation for the entire company. Only a few hundred of the original Mark I models were ever made, and nowadays those original units sell for thousands of dollars. Understandably so, given that some of its users, apart from Mayer, include Keith Richards, Jeff Beck, and Brad Paisley. Over the years, Way Huge have continued to release newer models of the Aqua Puss, the most recent one being the Mark III. The Mark III is part of the new Way Huge Small series with a more pedalboard friendly enclosure and affordable price tag versus that of its predecessors. In regards to the pedal itself, it's fantastically easy to use with just 3 controls, delay controlling the time of the delay ranging from 20 milliseconds to maxing out at 300 milliseconds, feedback controlling the amount of repeats, which begins to self-oscillate around 3 o'clock, and blend, which controls the blend of the wet and dry signal, equal mix being around 3 o'clock as well. But while it's this simple, it's still incredibly versatile and retains a very distinct character. The Bucket Brigade chips harking back to that classic grainy tape echo sound, and in the world of analog delay, it stands out because of the brighter voicings of its repeats. Now, in regards to Mayer, the Aqua Puss is one of his most essential pedals. It's been a staple in his rig since even before Continuum, and currently he uses an original Mark I unit on his board. And the way John uses the Aqua Puss is as an always-on pedal for a slapback effect, sitting constantly behind his tone to bring out more life and dimension. For John's settings, start by dialing in the following settings. For delay, you want it between 9 to 12 o'clock. It depends on which era of his history you're trying to emulate. For feedback, you want it set to just one single crisp repeat. And for blend, you want it somewhere between 8 or 9 o'clock. Any lower than 8 and it won't cut through, any higher than 9 and it'll just be a little bit too overpowering. And once you have these settings dialed in, don't touch them, just set them and forget about them, which is exactly what John does, leaving it on behind basically everything that he plays. As such, all of the following examples will be played with exactly the same setting on the Aqua Puss, so you can hear how it sounds as an always-on presence behind different circumstances. And apologies for not having a Strat to record these, I've done the best that I can with my Tele. For a couple of other ways that you can use the Aqua Puss in your rig, which also goes for other types of analog delay, you can start by using it for more of a rockabilly sound, which is exactly the type of effect that Brad Paisley has behind his tone. You can also use it to create a doubling effect. Setting the delay time to a super fast setting fattens up riffs and licks without getting too messy or out of control. It has a similar effect to double tracking a guitar part, adding body and punch without interfering with the rhythm of your playing. And finally, you can use it in the way that I like to, which is inspired directly by MAYER while still being a little bit different. I'm not too much of a fan of the slapback setting, so I have my Aqua Puss set for something a little more cavernous and smoother in the repeats. I find this the perfect setting for adding presence and dimension to your tone, where a traditional reverb may be a little bit heavy-handed. And I leave it on behind literally everything that I play. Riffs, licks, chords, solos, and I never turn it off because it only ever makes everything sound that much better. But also, as a last little trick, you can get creative with the self-oscillation. Start by having the feedback around 2 o'clock, after which it begins to echo into itself. Then control the level of the echoes using the blend knob because it can very quickly get out of control, after which simply experiment with the delay knob to conjure up all kinds of chaos. My experience with the Aqua Puss has been particularly interesting. As I've said in previous videos, I really don't use delay all that much, so something like the Aqua Puss, which you can just set and forget, is perfect for me. And having had it on my board for roughly a year now, I'm genuinely not sure if I'll ever be able to take it off just because of how much it brings to your tone. This pedal is more like an enhancement than a particular effect that you'd kick on, kind of like a boost or a buffer that once you have it on, you never want it off. And I've tried using other delays on my board, even multi-delays like the Walrus ARP87 with analog settings, but there is just something about the Aqua Puss that other delay pedals can't recreate. It's just so perfectly subtle with how it slips into your rig that you forget it's even there, but the moment you take it away, you definitely notice it's gone. And if that's not some example of a masterpiece in sonic engineering, I don't know what is. If you're looking for a delay pedal with longer delay times and more modern functions, then you should obviously be looking at something else. But if you're looking for a pedal that will enhance your rig, that will work with just about any effect that you place before it and retain so much of the clarity and the dynamics of your playing, this is probably a pedal that you need. But that is about everything for today, guys, and as always, I hope that there was something useful for you in this video, something that you were able to learn from. If so, do let me know down below, but also let me know if you have an Aqua Puss as well, how you might use it in your rig and which settings are your favorite. Drop a comment below or shoot me a message over on my Instagram, which is linked in the description, because I would genuinely love to hear from you. I've also just finished updating my Patreon page, through which I'm now offering both guitar lessons and pedalboard consultation sessions, so if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, you can find that linked below as well. But otherwise, thanks for watching, thanks for doing all the usual business to help support my channel and my videos, thanks for sticking around, and I will see you guys in a bit.